How much wealth do you need to be in the top 0.1%? Not just 1%, not just 10%, 0.1%. So this is pretty interesting. Just came out from the Board of Governors, Federal Reserve Board. Distribution of financial accounts, distribution of household wealth since 1989, update for 2024. I don't know why I love this stuff, but I do. I'm weird like that. Anyway, so you can see the wealth right here. All right. This is for everybody. We're breaking down 0.1%, 1%, 10%, above 50%, and the bottom 50%. All right, so let's start with the bottom 50%. Bottom 50%, look at that growth in wealth. From 2010, it grew from 0.33 trillion to 4.01 trillion. So the bottom 50% total wealth is $4 trillion. All right. Let's go to the top 0.1%. Top 0.1% is $22 trillion. $22 trillion is what the top 0.1% wealth is. Not average, that's just the wealth, how much they got. 0.1% has $22 trillion. The bottom 50% has $4 trillion. But I mean, look at the difference between the top 0.1% had $6 trillion in 2009, and now they got 22 trillion. So that's what, 3.5 times growth. The bottom 50% had 0.33 trillion, and now they got 4 trillion. So the bottom 50%, their wealth has grown by leaps and bounds above the top 0.1%. But look at that, though. The top 0.1%, I think it's only like 3,000 families or something like that. I don't know, maybe it's a little bit more than that. 22 trillion. The bottom 50%, 4 trillion. I find that interesting. All right, so let's keep going. Let's add the 1% here. Let's get rid of the bottom here. The 1%, let's get rid of them, have $27 trillion. So watch what happens. Look how small the bottom 50% of the American population is compared to the top 1%. And that's top 1% includes, by the way, the 0.1%. Look at that. Crazy. The top 10%. So you can see the top 10% have 58 trillion in wealth. The top 1% has 27 trillion in wealth, and the top 0.1% has 22 trillion in wealth. So basically, the top 0.1%, not only does it have more than 5 times the wealth, Finnegan, not only do they have more than 5 times the wealth of the bottom 50% of America, they have about half, a little bit less than half the whole wealth of the top 10%. Isn't that crazy? That's how rich those people are. I find that interesting. So let's keep looking. See, wealth by age. The people who are 70 or over have $50 trillion of wealth. The people under 40 have $10 trillion. Pretty interesting. So again, and then you can see right here, the people 55 to 69 have $67 trillion of wealth, dudes. 67 trillion, the people 55 to 69. So I'm 54, so I'm far away from 55. I'm 54. I'll turn 55 in 2 months. So hopefully I'll be in that top category there. But isn't that crazy? Nuts. I think they do it by income as well. Income percentile. Yeah, let's take a look. Top, what's that? 20%. Yeah, percentile here. That's tough to say. The top 10% income is 28 trillion. The top 20%, the second from 80 to 89 is $75 trillion. That's crazy. Let's keep looking. And here's whites just crushing it. They have $135 trillion of net worth. 135 trillion. So whites are kicking ass, taking names. I would want to say what percent? Does it give us percent? Whites have 84% of the total net worth in the United States. Blacks 3.4, Hispanics 2.3, and other is 10.2. So whites are just crushing it. But our percentage of net worth is dropping from 87.8 down to 84%, while other has gone up from 6% to 10%. So others have gone up quite a bit. Not quite a doubling, but pretty close. Whites have dropped. Blacks have gone from 4% to 3.4, and Hispanics have gone from 2.2 to 2.3. So really the other races, Indians and things of that nature, Pakistanis and whatnot, has grown where whites and blacks and, Hispanics have stayed the same, but whites and blacks have dropped off. But watch this, though. This is pretty interesting. I'm going to go to liabilities. All right, so remember, I'm just going to go to wealth. We're going to look at wealth percentile. And we're going to go to C right here. And we're going to see, I don't want what I want here. I want, 1 second. And we're going to see that the top of wealth right here, top 10% have well above half the entire wealth of the United States. Well above half. So you can see top 10% have, I can't even see what that much, I need my career. It's 58 million for the top 10%, 27 million trillion for the top 1%, and then 0.2. So, I mean, that's how much? 58, about 100. They have above a half of the total wealth in the United States. Let's go to liabilities, though. Let's go to liabilities. This is where it gets a little bit, oh, that's not good. This is the bottom. The bottom. So the bottom 50% have the second most debt out there. The top 0.1% only owe 0.2 trillion. I think it's $200 billion of debt. The bottom 50% owe $6 trillion. Now, there's a reason for that. The bottom 50% could be younger, right? 100%. But you see that? The debt that the bottom have is significantly higher than the 0.1%, the 1%, the 10%. And that a lot of reasons, again, is because they're on the younger. But still, you can see the top 0.1% hardly carries any debt. And yet they have huge assets. I mean, again, just look at these assets. Look at this. Top 1%, 0.2 trillion of debt, 23 trillion of assets. Isn't that crazy? The bottom 50%, $10 trillion of assets, and was it 6 trillion of debt? 6 trillion of debt. So their total net worth, it should be 4 trillion, and it is 4 trillion. Isn't that crazy? And it is what it is, man. I don't know what to tell you, but I just find that interesting. So you are not alone if you think you're the only one who has a lot of debt relative to your assets. You're just not. Just not. Many people in America are just like you, man. So and they're doing just fine. They're doing just fine. So don't freak out. Don't worry. Like, oh my goodness, I'm never going to retire. Nah, dude. Most people in the bottom 50% have debt, more so, relatively speaking, than the richer people. Because a lot of those people are younger, have all the debt, are younger. The issue is after you pay off your debt and you get into the 55 to 60-year-old category, like, wow, I got more money coming in than I've ever known. I talk to people like this all the time. They're like 58 years old. They're like, all the debt's paid off. Now I got all this money coming in. I needed that like 20 years ago. That's the way it works. So just hang in there. All right, God bless. Love your thoughts. Smash that like button.